During this legislative session, there has been a lot of talk about the role of schools and the role of parents. A lot of parents out there feel like the lines are sometimes blurred when schools begin to step in and work with our kids on their emotional skills. Our WTHR education expert, Jennifer Brinker, is the assistant principal at Greenwood Middle School. What is your response to parents who say, you know what, your job is just to teach my kids content?
Yes, in an ideal world, that would be our only job, would be to teach content. We would be having kids in this ideal world coming to us with emotional intelligence, meaning that they are able to identify and manage their own emotions appropriately, be respectful of others' emotional responses as well. But unfortunately, the world that we're living in, that's just not the case of what a lot of schools are seeing. So more and more often, we have kids coming to us who have either been neglected, have been just given devices as a babysitter, who aren't spoken to very often in a given day. And so kids more and more often are struggling with that emotional intelligence. So if a kid is not able to get themselves emotionally regulated, then they're not going to be able to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic in the classroom because they're never going to be at that baseline. So again, this has been going on since way before you and I were around, Dustin, that teachers have cared for and clothed and comforted kids and done all of these things. Schools just have a more systematic approach to it now.
It reminds me of that saying we've heard, it takes a village.
You know, we need to hold on to that idea that we really are all here for kids. And, you know, I know some people get very frustrated when schools will refer to students as our kids. But really, I'm sure that the same parents that might want to point out, well, they're my kids, they're not your kids. Yes, but if there was an emergency situation, I certainly think you would want to protect them as we would our own. So yeah, just keeping in mind that it's a community. We care about our community, and we're here to provide whatever it is that the kids need so that they can learn and be successful.
And you mentioned that some kids struggle with emotional intelligence. What can parents do at home to address that?
That's a wonderful question. And that starts from the time that your child is born. I say this all the time. Your kids are always learning and watching from you. You are their parent. You're their first and most important teacher that they'll ever have. So you have to practice and model good emotional intelligence yourself, being aware of your emotions. But even from the time that your child's a toddler, being able to label their emotions and their feelings it's incredibly important for a kid to be able to tell the difference between what sad and mad looks like. Working with your child on coping strategies, you know, ways of breathing exercises, just different things to calm them down. And then this one is hard, but to not be dismissive, to be empathetic. And, you know, you might be thinking that your child is just having a really dramatic response, but trying to say, I can see that you're very upset. And then talking through maybe some strategies with that. But we can list on the web story some wonderful resources that are out there to help having those conversations with your kids from the time they're tiny.
Great. All right. We will make sure and post those. If you'd like to take a look at home, you can check out this story at WTHR.com. Mrs. Brinker, as always, thanks very much. We'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time. Thank you.
We'll be right back.